guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and it's only Tuesday. How y'all doing today? I see everybody getting pumped up in chat. Pumped up. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. But really, this is not about April Fools, guys. And April Fools, I'm not into April Fools. Honestly, like I'm not that kind of girl. I don't like when people play jokes or pranks on me. So happy April Fools, but no, I'm not into that. So hit the like button so we can get in the algorithm. And let me tell you, I got to put in the context of what's happened here. I see a lot of new members, and I just want to, first of all, I have to set the context of today. We're talking about the Madeline Soto case, and we're talking about Maddie. Welcome, everyone. It's not April Fools. I'm totally not into April Fools, but what we're here for today and what we've been here for, despite anybody that I've talked to, is Madeline Soto. And that's what got my attention. Yeah, it's not a surprise. This is not a surprise. We're going to go over the interview with Deb and Chris Sterns when they break their silence with Hidden True Crime. And I want to do that because Deb is skeptical, and I don't blame her. I put the video out, members only, tomorrow after we go over this. But of course, I'm going to tell you what's going on. Gringa, welcome. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I feel validated. I hate pranks too. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm just not into that whole prank stuff. Like, just tell me, haha, happy April Fools or whatever. But like, I might be silly and I might make you guys laugh, but I'm not into jokes and I'm not into pranks being pulled on me, and I don't do that to anybody else. So, that being said, happy April Fool's Day without a joke, without any jokes. I'm here for Madeline Soto. I've been here. I've been a little bit anxious about coming on here today just because of the context of this. Now, Stephan Sterns' parents speak out to Hidden True Crime, but Deb reached back to me. All right. She reached back to me, and first she wasn't, it was months. This has been months. She reached back to me on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, and she reached back to me last Sunday. I got back to her on Wednesday. When I got back to her, she wasn't too happy with the video. She wasn't real sure what she was watching or what I had done. All she knows is that we on this channel talk shit about Stephan Sterns and about the parents, right? We've been doing all these jail calls, and I feel like the jail calls have prompted her to reach back out, which is in the video tomorrow, members only. But welcome, Sadie's mama. Thank you for being here for a full 12 months, which is exactly how long that I've been monetized. So thank you. Same to you, Gringa, and to everybody else that became a member again or is a new member. I appreciate you guys. Nikki, new member. And I just want you guys to know, and her, if I know that they're probably going to watch this. And when I say Deb is going to watch this. I believe she probably watched the show the other day when I told you about, and there's what this is about. When I told you guys I was running an episode with the jail calls, and we were running jail calls like full deep, Stephan Sterns, Deb, Chris, and everybody was, I went back, everybody was like, I hate those parents. I hate that lady. So right when I got off from streaming with you guys, she texted me and was like, I don't even want to give you an interview. I'm not going to give you an interview. I don't trust you. I've been beat down enough. So we're going to do this today. We're going to try to, well, first of all, let's see. We're here for Maddie, number one. Number two, these jail calls have really helped quite a bit, you guys. They've helped. And Kim, if I could give memberships out, I would. Jamie Cooper, thank you for being a newbie member. All members, welcome. All right. So listen, we're here for Madeline Soto. And when Deb reached out to me, which the video tomorrow will explain the whole context, what she said, word for word. But she did reach out and say that she loves Madeline Soto, which is more than any other person on the Soto side has done. And I'm not saying reaching out to me, I'm saying period. Nobody from the Soto side has reached out to anybody and said, I miss Maddie so much. I love her. This is not about Tyler. It's not about Tatiana. It's not about Stephan Sterns or Jenn Soto. It's about Madeline Soto. So I gotta take that with, for who I am as a person. I gotta look at the parents, Deborah especially, since she finally reached back out to me. I'm real surprised and wrote me a whole note, which you'll find out tomorrow. I gotta give both sides a look and say, man, she had a relationship with Maddie for 6 or 7 years, and I forgot about that. I forgot that she did. I forgot that she had that relationship. She knew Jenn Soto. She knew what kind of parent. She saw the dynamics. She saw all that. So, yeah, Linda Ann, no parents would what their kids do when they walk out the door. Just have to pray. We instilled them. Right. Right. So that's what Linda, that's why I'm coming here today, to give chat an opportunity before anything to say, I have a bit of empathy. I have an empathy for the parents. Now, you got to keep in mind, those jail calls have got the prosecution in a good spot. Stephan Sterns is talking to his parents, and they're not shutting it down. They're asking, so were you only attracted to Maddie? And Stephan's like, well, that's for later, but that's the only instance. Like, I mean, he's telling us stuff that, boom, Vinnie Paulton recognized it. I hope other people recognize this. Exactly, Sergio. Exactly. And that's why I need to give a safe space. All right. Especially her not wanting to be attacked by everybody. Right. And it's interesting because we're going to hear that today. You can tell they love him a lot, but they also loved Maddie a lot. They had a relationship with her. And I don't know if that relationship was better than the relationship with Yolanda. I don't know about Maddie's relationship with these people in the picture, Tatiana and Tyler. I only know what I was told. So, to give respect as respect is due. I mean, when you get a message from somebody's mom that's 72 years old and they're telling you, they believe in Christ, and she talked about the Lauren and John interview and people not liking them. She even calls me out and says how I've treated the family, how Chat's treated the family. It's crazy. Like, she called it all out. And that's why I know that they watch this, because she wouldn't have reached out to me and she wouldn't have been able. So let's get into this. Let's start with that, and then I can come back. But I really want you guys to know this case is for Madeline Soto. It's about Madeline Soto. Stephan Sterns is the person that is right now going to be convicted for the death of and the 60 assault charges of little Madeline Soto. All right. So this is about her, and it's about the people that surrounded her, love her, cared for her, and are still talking about it and still trying to. And that, right when I said that, we hit 222 people in chat. So I'm going to say a prayer for Maddie, very precious angel, and remember why we're here, and carry that sympathy with you. I think, and you know what, like that. Hey, when you see the video tomorrow, you'll be able to say that. But when I get a message like that, and I have a mom that's 70 years old, and I hear the way my mom treats my brother that was in prison and my nephew that was in prison, it really hits close to home because she treats them the way that Stephan Sterns' parents treat him. Now, neither one of them are taking anyone's life, and none of them are pedos, okay? But I just know how I can sympathize with my mom being into God and being 70, Deborah being 72, and she kind of poured her heart out a little, and it's hard for me to just shut that down when someone comes to me in that way, okay? So they do, but I gotta tell you, you haven't heard anything new that she said now, 9 months later. And you gotta remember, like, some of the things that she says in this, or they say in this, they're helping the prosecution. They do, but they're helping the prosecution. And maybe they don't even know it. And maybe after they hear this, they'll know it, but they've already done that. So let's remember, we're here for Maddie. Let's try to attack minimally, because you can't get people to open up and you can't get interviews if you're attacking them, right? So there's Maddie. May she rest in peace. I believe that was probably the October before when she visited Tyler for the last time, because she's looking very close to 13 years old. And when I look back into her eyes and I realize what this case is about, then that's where I am. No, you're definitely not. And I agree that. I agree. And I'm here to, I even said to her, let me help change that narrative. Let me help change that narrative and rewrite it about you guys and with what you have to say. So you're right. Exactly what you're saying is, you're very perceptive and you know what's going on here too. But I'm playing both sides right now, and that's where we are. So justice for Madeline Soto. Let's listen here. It's not April Fool's. She did reach out. I did, a little Maddie. I did record that video. I do already have it up. I did share that with her. She didn't like it. She thought it was all about likes and subscribes, which it's absolutely not about, because I want you guys to hear, if you haven't heard, what they're saying. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all the hours, but let's listen, let's chat, let's try to play both sides of it. And remember, before we get into this, let me just give you a little bit about Deborah and what she has to say. If you don't know, I mean, she was Maddie's other grandparent. She did have a relationship with her. Jenn Soto apparently was a bad mother in their eyes, and we've heard that before. There's a lot of things there's a lot of things that I think, let's get into this, and then I'll keep going. I'll see what chat's saying.
Was quite vocal and wants attention, so I apologize. She'll be quiet, hopefully, right, Lacey? Okay.
But anyway, now we're talking about the dogs.
No one ever grows up expecting to experience this. You've seen it on the news, you've seen it in the papers, and oh my gosh, how tragic that is. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in the same similar situation. We had provided from the very beginning.
See, now here's the problem, Isabel. I would love to put that not members only, but I'm in real time here, and I'm afraid that I'm going to get a message, because she's texting me back now. So first we started out on Facebook. Deb, I messaged her way in the beginning before this interview, and she never got back to me until Sunday, after I was running all of the interviews, after I was running all the jail interviews. And then I wanted to be respectful, because the day before we were running the jail calls, people weren't being respectful at all. They were saying really bad names, and I don't blame her. I would say, you're calling me that, I'm not going to be anything. I'm not going to do anything. So I want to hear both sides of the story. The journalism to be successful, it chose a dark road, right? Anna, I love that you can pull the perspective out and strip away feelings for a moment. And remember, Stephan Sterns is helping the prosecution by talking to his parents right now. It's crazy. All right, let's listen to both sides for a little bit, and we'll continue.
Proactively, very cooperative with the police authorities. I mean, I was caught off guard that Wednesday that Stephan was arrested, not even aware that he was being arrested that evening. I thought I was waiting many hours to have a conversation with the police to learn what was going on. And if I could.
Now, again, I'm playing both sides. I'm going to play this for a little bit. I know you guys have questions, and I want to hear both sides, no judgments too. So when you ask a question like, how is Jenn wasn't married to Stephan, but Stephan had Maddie around his parents for 6 or 7 years. Now, did they not? They didn't pick up on the thing? No, they didn't. But I'm basing my information off of what we heard and off of a message that you'll hear tomorrow that she sent. So we've got to hear everything before we take it out of context, right? And if I sit there and just say, they disgust me, then nobody's going to want to talk and have open conversation. So I respect everybody's opinion. You guys know my opinion from the get-go. You know my opinion from the get-go. You can go back and watch one episode and you hear what I'm saying. But these couple of episodes, I'm being very neutral, and I actually want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear that. I don't know what they're saying in this interview.
Contribute any information I would, and not realizing that he was already arrested and actually had been transported away from Orange County down to Osceola County. Never learned until days later that he was arrested. I thought I was just there to help provide some information regarding the disappearance of Maddie. And obviously we learned much later that this turned into something more serious. And we also, at least I thought, and continue to think later with the police interviews here at our home, that our conversation was confidential, and certainly wouldn't be released to the public, only to have every word and nuance scrutinized and analyzed, and opinions formed about it. That is so.
But do you see what's happening here? And I understand. I can't even believe. I guess because it's Dr. John, he was able to get that. But Deb mentioned this interview in the email, so I'm like, wait, what happened here? Did it go sideways? Were people in chat really bad? I mean, this was a live interview, wasn't it? Did they do this live? Does anybody remember? All right, let's keep going. Carly's here. What's up? And to all the mods, hello.
So out of mischaracterizing us and just a lot of speculation and conjectures. So anyway,
the reason we're doing this today, Lauren and John, is because with the docket dump that went out there, we no longer feel constrained to keep silent and let people keep castigating us and dragging us through the muck for no reason, using lies, conjectures, embroidering facts that they do have, making up facts that they don't. It's become a very incestuous snake.
And you hear how angry she sounds right now? That's about how angry she was in that message, you guys. That message, even though she wasn't talking like this, now I can hear the anger in it and the, you don't like me. I see it. I see how you guys treat me and the stuff you say. Like, I tried to, like, everything I did to say, hey, I can see both sides. I'd like to, I mean, some people are like, you're better than I am, Jay, with that. No, it's just, I can split the sides and see both and then come back around. That's what I'm trying to do. Because Deb's pissed in this. Look at her.
Pit of lies, innuendo, and just ugliness. And I don't understand why any parent would be subjected to that, because we didn't take part in any of the crime.
Okay, you're right, Thomas. You're like psychic today, Thomas. I should just bring you over here and have you stream with me, because everything you're saying is dead on. When you actually hear exactly what it is, like that, everything you're saying is what's coming out, is what's going to come out. It's crazy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You nailed that right there. Boom.
Crimes. Is it a crime to give birth to somebody? I mean, why are we blamed?
Perhaps maybe we need to share something with everyone before we go any further, because it might not be obvious to many watching. Where are you in accepting the reason your son is behind bars? Are you in a place of understanding what he did? Are you believing? Where are you?
Totally.
Yes.
I mean, the last data dump that they had a few weeks ago, and I went through line by line, and then shared with Debbie the chronology of events, the narrative summary and such that.
And don't forget, you guys, thank you so much, Foxy Amazon, for the One Guilty of Crime membership. Thank you for all the members that are coming in. Hit the like button, subscribe, get a membership if you can. I appreciate you guys. And thank you guys for being cool in chat today. Everybody, all opinions are welcome. I just hit 333, which is an angel number. I appreciate you guys and everything that you're saying. And thank you for listening to the full context of this, because when you don't hear the full context, you only get bits and pieces, and then you don't know exactly what's going on. All right.
It's very conclusive, and
right.
It does, in our mind, indicate Stephan is a lone perpetrator, as much as we want to believe what he said, that there are other people involved. And again, that's
you hear that
out there in a prior phone conversation that Stephan said. But you look at the evidence that's been presented, and it's pretty conclusive that there doesn't appear to be anybody else involved, and that he is the lone perpetrator. And certainly he was guilty of the images that he found on his phone, and then later the charges were expanded to include murder. Whether it was
no, it's not about condoning anything. It's about hearing two sides. I'm not condoning anything, and I wish Stephan Sterns, which is it's never gonna happen, right? It's never gonna happen. There are probably so many things Stephan did that he never told his parents about. You guys heard the jail calls, right? That came out that said that he got a gastric bypass, and that's not even what he got. He got a gastric sleeve. He didn't tell his parents. He's what, 40 years old now? 38 years old. He didn't tell his parents. So thank you guys for being here in chat. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening to all context of it. And yeah, let's keep going.
Premeditated. We don't think that. And again, we won't know 100% of the story until if and when he ever provides testimony. But obviously he was involved in her death, and nobody else was. But I don't want to believe that it was premeditated, but I can't rule that out. But
that's what we're listening to right now.
Accountable for his actions, and we obviously are extremely disappointed by that.
No.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's been a process, but in other words, you're learning everything as the public learns it.
Yeah. We're not privy to
nobody's
anything.
giving us a heads up on anything.
Yeah.
That we're mushrooms. We're kept in the dark.
Yeah,
now, you guys, without them as well, without the parents talking, we would have never heard in the first phone call about Jenn Soto possibly being involved and them telling Stephan to speak up. Without that, and without them having those jail calls, would Stephan Sterns have talked to anybody about what he did? Would he have talked to anyone? I know he wasn't going to go to his mom and dad and say, hey, I'm having this. And it's no, don't take me out of context. This was abuse, what he did to Maddie. But would he have, from his perspective, gone to his parents and said, I'm having a relationship with a 6 and 7 year old? Replace that with I'm abusing a 6 and 7 year old. And maybe after 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12, I've been having this weird relationship with this 10-year-old or 12-year-old. Would he really have done that? I don't think so. He wouldn't have done that. There's many things he didn't tell. And that's just how it goes. Monster or not, Jeffrey Dahmer, whoever it is. But yeah, the fact that the parents keep talking, there's two sides to that. There's the good part that's helping prosecution and things come out and for us to understand. And then there's the part where everybody's attacking them. There's other sides to it too, which we'll get into.
The only time we know is all of a sudden we're getting these text messages and heads up alerts from our friends. You go, hey, you got to see this out there. And I go, oh my gosh, what does this mean? I mean, I'm looking for the news every day. And I don't see anything, and all of a sudden it's out there, and these videos and YouTube channels have a field day, and it's been that way for weeks ever since. And the challenge is going to be is that we do know that we were told the other day that this is going to be multiple years before it goes to trial. given the gravity of the charges, and knowing what the penalty is, we're resigned to accept that fate and the fact that we could lose him in a multitude of ways. You know, at any given time, some prisoner in the jail could off him, and you know, we're
all right, guys. So a little background on Chris and Deborah Sterns. A lot of people weren't here from the very beginning, and when I first started the channel, I started this case, and a lot of things hadn't come out yet. Right, a lot of things hadn't come out yet, and we unraveled quite a bit. That is absolutely Stephan Sterns' biological parents. He looks just like his freaking dad. Right. They have been together the whole entire time. They filed divorce one other time. Why do I know about that? I don't know, because I've had lots of researchers with me helping and collaboration. So way back in the day, they filed a divorce. They never went through it. They've been together, Stephan Sterns' whole life. There were some hiccups in between, but that is absolutely his parents, both biological parents. Now, if you go back and watch some of the older stuff, you'll see things trickle out as we kind of investigate and talk to people. But yeah, Stephan Sterns is absolutely a narcissist. I think he looks a lot like his dad. I don't even understand how he wouldn't be his dad. And then he has a brother, but his older brother changed his last names to Stearns so that he's not associated with the Sterns.
We just deal with it on a day-to-day basis. You know, we could get that phone call one day. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
As I told you, I think before, this is the most protracted death of a child that you can go through, because they're already gone to you. We'll never touch him again. We aren't allowed to see him right now. And
yeah.
You know he's out there, but he's not available. I mean,
Right.
if he'd been hit by a car, it would have been easier on us, because the grieving period could go, instead of grieving for years and years and years while he's still alive and we can't have any access to him.
Matter of fact, we haven't even heard from him for over 3 weeks now, and we don't know why. I called the other day inquiring about his wellness, and the jail correction officer says, "What does that mean?" I said, "Well, it's a wellness check. We want to find out if he's okay, because we haven't heard from him." "Well, if he wants to talk to you, he'll talk to you." I said, "He wants to talk to us. We don't know of any reason why he wouldn't, unless he's being denied access to communication, which we think he is." And I think it's a result of the most recent data dump, that the guards are intentionally preventing him from getting access to where we can communicate with him. He's in solitary confinement. It's been that way since February, nearly 8 months.
Okay. Wow. And yeah, I remember you telling us that in an earlier conversation too, that it would be easier almost it would be easier to mourn his.
Now, it makes me wonder too, Sergio. I don't know the context of this video and what Dr. John or Lauren told them to talk about. We have no idea behind the scenes on what they said. Hey, we want to talk about this. Go ahead. Or what do you? We don't know what they set them up. We don't know how it was. We don't know how it was framed. So I'm going to go with just a fresh start and saying, I know what Deb wanted to get out there. And the first thing is, she doesn't want people to think that Stephan Sterns was abused by any means from either parents. She was close with Maddie. What about her? She loved Maddie too, and other things, right? Edith, thank you so much for the Guilty of Crime membership. So we don't know what the context. I have no idea what they said to get this started. No idea. I don't know how they got them to keep talking for as long as they did, or what they said. None whatsoever. All right.
Death than this, because you also have to realize,
thank you,
and mourn Madeline, who you knew as well.
The whole thing we do, and we're accused of being cold and impartial people. And I mean, they made a big deal of the fact that I went outside and was screaming Madeline's name. I wasn't looking for her in the woods. I was talking to God. That's my privilege, to talk to my God. I was asking, why Madeline, and where is she? I'm sorry.
But we, every day, all of this is in our minds. We talk about it often.
That's what we're here for.
We're private people. We keep our emotions to ourselves as best as possible, but we certainly, there's no way that this will escape us on a daily basis. It's impossible for that to happen. We're forever living with this, and I just wish there was.
That's what I'm saying.
I just wish there was a way that we could have possibly known that there was a problem going on.
Now, sometimes it's hard to see both sides of things when you're infuriated and upset. And I'm just showing you what's on the table. Obviously, Dr. John and Lauren did not blast these people, or they would have not gone on and talked about things. I'm pretty sure they didn't call up the parents and say, you guys are disgusting POSs. Hey, why don't you come on and tell us what your side is? I don't think so. I think Dr. John he's a doctor, so he listens to, and then he processes and regurgitates and then talks about it. But yeah, one love, that's what hit me. That's what hit me is when I heard Maddie's name. That's what got me with the email is, hey, wait a minute, I loved Maddie too. And it pulled at my heartstrings, and then it pulled at my heartstrings thinking, fuck, my mom is 70. This lady's 72. My brother's went to prison for 5 years. My nephew, same thing. And I'm like, well, my mom did that with with my brother and my nephew. Mom, if you come into chat, Mama Pearl, I love you. But that's what my mom did with my brother as well. And I always felt that way about it as well. Well, I was out there doing good. My brother's out there calling from prison. Can I get some money? You know what I'm saying? So like, I can see both sides. And, yeah, I'm glad you got your Foxy box. Yeah, no one is having fun. Exactly. They didn't. That's what I'm trying to listen to right now. Now, would you stay on the show if someone's confronting you? I ask you that.
Stephans had no idea.
Yeah. There you go, Wyatt. There you go.
The only thing that we knew that was wrong, and we addressed it immediately, was when we became aware of the co-sleeping arrangements. And they were here at our house. And at that point, I put my foot down and said, Madeline's not sleeping in the room with you. She's too old for that. And
you hear that?
I said, you need to stop doing that at home too.
Damn, I don't even remember this part. Okay, so like that's where the Jenn Soto comment probably came in about Jenn Soto being a terrible mom. She stepped up and said, you can't sleep in the bed with him. You're too old, but fucking Jen, I'm sorry. Excuse my language. I did not mean to cuss. Jen never did that. That's what's messed up. That pisses me off about that. And no, the Sotos aren't going to call me anytime soon. Trust me. They don't really put bots, but they troll my chat. They hate me. The Sotos absolutely hate me. Chris and Debbie, Chris borderline. I don't know how Chris feels. Debbie is on the fence, but she reached back out to me. So there's got to be something that she saw that she realized that I'm not going to attack her. And Dr. John, I think the smartest guy in the house is Wyatt Rye Swayes. Dr. John doesn't condemn people. He gives a medical opinion on the situation, but not specific guests. I like him. Nobody's going to come on your show if you attack them. Just saying, you're never going to catch bees with, what do you say? Poison. You're going to catch bees with honey. You can't. Yeah. I know you guys like when I cuss and get rowdy, but, yeah, I didn't mean to, but Jenn Soto, man, Jenn Soto. And nobody's going to talk to you if you walk around insulting people and attacking them. You got to talk like a human being and find out what their side is, or you don't get anything.
Now I talked to both Jen and to Stephan. And Jen says, yes. Well, she comes in at night. She gets scared. She comes in at night and climbs into bed. And I can't stop her. I said, did your door have a lock on? She said, yes. I said, yes. Did you use the damn lock? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then to send your child off to sleep with a man in another room in a single bed together.
Like, yes.
Who is not a biological relative. And even biological relatives can't be trusted.
Right.
Amen.
How many people have you heard of in that situation with family members? So
there you go.
I just I saw red when I heard that, and it's.
Did you on that issue? Did you? I know you. It sounds like you chastised them about sleeping in the same bed, but did you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to Stephan about that issue in more detail?
I didn't think I had to. I did not think I had to.
Well,
I think unless the police officer, the officers, law enforcement find out something hard evidence, they're never going to know about Jenn Soto, and they're never going to make her accountable unless we start getting a he said, she said, and Stephan Sterns speaks up. All right. That's the only, there's no other way we're going to get it. She hasn't been arrested. I know they're building a case. Maybe they're going to arrest her after, but the trials aren't going to happen for a while, you guys. Don't expect 2025 to hold Jenn accountable. Maybe we're going to see her maybe as a witness, or we're going to see witness lists, but I don't expect her to be at least well until we start hearing more from Stephan Sterns' side.
I did, but I did bring Madeline in, and she stayed with me in my room anytime they came to visit.
Right. Yeah, you guys said that in one of your interviews that she was in. Was it both of you guys bad, or was it?
No, we are what they call now sleep divorced. We have separate rooms because we can't sleep together. We love each other, absolutely.
Yes, justice for Maddie.
She's insomniac and a night person. I'm a morning person, and
we both snore.
We both snore, and so
that
it will be the battle of the lumberjacks. And so, in order for both of us to get sleep, you know, we sleep in separate rooms, and we sleep with the dogs.
We split the dogs up.
We call it bitches and bros. I get the boys, she gets the girls, and you know, they provide warm comfort.
And maybe they did have a feeling about that. I do wonder why Dr. John and Lauren didn't ask, but I think it's more of a, you got to let them come on and talk. You start grilling them, they're going to leave. They're 72 and above. And my wife is a mobile dog groomer, and she works for people that breed dogs like that. So that was another thing that she talked about in her email, was her award-winning dogs. And there was a lot of things that that reeled me into, like, I want to know more about this situation. But the biggest thing was Maddie and her relationship with Maddie and her relationship with Stephan Sterns. All right. Yeah. And you don't have to, Frank, you don't have to. You guys are not the ones that are getting the interviews, right? You guys are not the ones that worry about what messages you're going to get because you said something wrong.
And they're security. They're great sleep mates. So, and of course, and if I'm not here, they all sleep with Debbie. And God forbid somebody try to come in the house, they're going to have 5 Doberman pinchers with hair on their ass going after them. They'll tear them a new one. So, warning, heads up.
Yeah, to all those YouTubers, we'll get into that too.
But Debbie did talk to Stephan and Madeline individually.
Listen.
And together.
Yeah. So,
they went in one ear and out the other because they didn't stop, but they never got to do it here. And
wow.
And then we were chastised because we didn't allow them to vape in our home. And somehow they figured out that we don't smoke. We only drink occasionally.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. That's what I asked Deb to come on here and talk about. And I filmed a video and she didn't like it. And she said she doesn't want to be attacked anymore. So the Profe for her, that's why I'm here to talk about Maddie. What about Maddie? But that's what reeled me in, is talking about, that's all I want to know from Deb. All I want to know is the relationship she had with Maddie and the relationship she had with Jenn, I'm sorry, and how the two intertwined. And some of these questions I can draw from here. Like, if they didn't listen to her, Maddie and Stephan Sterns kept on doing it, but why didn't Jenn step in? What happened? What was the relationship? That's what I want to know. Thomas Karras says, I can't trust people that don't drink or smoke. All right, let me take a puff for you. All right, now you go. You can trust me. All right.
I can't turn down a margarita at a Mexican restaurant. And we don't do drugs. I don't even like doing prescribed drugs. That I won't take pain pills. I did the whole heart surgery on nothing but extra strength Tylenol. I can't take it. Some of it I'm allergic to. But they said we thought we were superior because of that. That's not true.
Yes, on the last conversation we had, she did, and you're going to talk about that more. I have a video that I found. I'm kind of playing here and there because she saw comments that we talked about on here, and she backed off. So, but I have something for you guys. What if you just do one with Deb J? With that, that's what I'm trying to do. That's Suzanne. That's what I'm absolutely trying to do. Nanoska says, fuck you. No, you didn't. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know. I can't tell what you guys got in chat, but that's what I'm trying to do. I want to find out the truth about what happened. I want to find out how Jenn was. I don't know anybody besides her roommate that interacted with her, but Deb is saying she sat down Stephan Sterns and Madeline Soto together and separately and said, you guys cannot sleep together. You're too old for that. Where the frick was Jenn when she did that? What happened?
That's our choice. But also my choice is I don't want cigarette smoke and marijuana smoke in my home. It makes me ill. I don't like the smell of it. I don't want to be around it.
It sounds like, Deborah, that Madeline occasionally was in your bed. Did you guys have a close relationship with Madeline? Could you talk about that for a minute?
Yes, I taught her to crochet.
That's what I want to talk
artwork
about.
Together, we did projects. I was teaching her how to cook. She spent a lot of time with me when she wasn't in there watching movies with them. So we actually put Disney on our TV here so she could sit out in the family room with us while I thought we were giving Jenn and Stephan alone time as a couple.
Yes, it is. That is weird.
I tried to be respectful of their space.
Yeah.
Taking on Madeline, but Madeline was an absolute joy. The girl was happy, precocious, smiling. She walked with a bounce. She was interested in everything. She giggled a lot. This is a horrible loss in the world. She's a child. She should still be here. She should still be here.
Yeah. You just described kind of the bright side of Madeline, that she was happy and giggled a lot. Did you ever, she was next to you in bed. Did you ever notice any distress?
No.
From her? Did you ever feel like maybe she wanted to talk to you about something she couldn't, or did you get any of that?
There was none of that. In fact, just the opposite. Stephan would be sitting on the sofa and she would go and sit on the arm of the sofa and break her arm around him and give him a kiss and tell him she loved him. And Madeline is the one that told me about the co-sleeping, not Stephan and not Jenn. Madeline did. When she related, she said it was a funny story. She says, I was in bed with Mom and Stephan, and when I woke up in the morning, my leg was draped over him, and she went, isn't that funny? I said,
No,
it's not. I don't find that funny.
Yeah.
That's right. When I would have the talk with them. Because
there you go.
Me, I'm sorry, that sent up a big red flag.
Yeah.
You think?
She said that. She said that in a playful manner,
yes.
But not in a, you wouldn't see that as kind of a cry for help.
I did not see it as a cry for help. I found it to be disturbing to me on levels. So other than that, we had no recollection. We had no indication that something illicit was going on. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you told Stephan you shouldn't be co-sleeping with Madeline, he, as far as you could tell, he heard you. He said, okay.
He heard me. He and Jenn both says, but she wants to be with us.
Appreciate you.
And I knew no matter what I said to him, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway.
Right.
It was very obvious to me that they were not listening. They heard that they're not comprehending, and they're not going to change.
Damn, dude.
You've mentioned that Stephan would often say one thing but do another, right? That you didn't know.
Oh yeah, modus operandi.
You didn't know what was true and what wasn't sometimes.
I mean,
He made it. He was a gaslighter.
Listen.
You know, he could make you think things were one way when they were a total other way, and do it with such sincerity that you questioned yourself.
Interesting.
And when we got to figure that out, things changed for him, and they didn't change for the good. And he was no longer a happy camper because we challenged him on everything. We came up missing money. We came up missing jewelry. Came up missing my deceased father.
Now I ask you, chat, with Stephan Sterns' parents speaking out, do you think this is going to help the prosecution, or do you think it's going to help the defense? I mean, all of the jail calls, do you think that's going to help the prosecution, or do you think it's going to help the defense? Now, it may help the defense a bit when they hear Stephan talking about his narrative where, you know, he's telling his parents he was outside when it happened and Jenn was downstairs sleeping. But what is that really going to get him? Not death row? I think the best Stephan Sterns is not going to get is death row, guys. Like, straight up. Like, that's, I mean, all from what we're hearing, all the evidence is he's not going to get death row. That's, yeah. Thank you, Deb H, for answering that, because nobody talks like this. Nobody ever talks like this in jail calls. Nobody's parents really go on there. Jeffrey Dahmer's dad protected him till his dying freaking day, and he died after Dahmer did. So you think it's going to help the defense? I don't think this is going to help the defense at all. How can you be a character witness, guys? You cannot go on there and be a character witness after saying this. Now you can, but once you go on and you tell the prosecution what you want to tell them as a character witness, and prosecution comes up and says, well, what about this? Good luck talking your way out of that one. Exactly. I mean, that too.
Father's Rolex, and I know he took it, but he won't admit to it even now.
When did that start? Could you tell us a little bit about the line, when it started, and
I love you,
like, when did he take the Rolex?
Last year.
It started when he was a teenager.
Okay.
And little stuff, and then they got bigger and bigger as he got older. I mean, you never got the truth about anything. I mean, he wrecked his car and never got the true story in that. Something very similar to the incident of Maddie's disappearance. You know, coming up with something like that. You know, when he called me that afternoon, second call that day.
We hope so.
Flat tire, and listened to that BS. And boy, when you look at the images of that tire, I mean, there wasn't hardly any rubber left on that wheel whatsoever. And then they show pictures of these chunks of rubber laying in the ground. And Stephan trying to explain to me that he had a flat tire and he was in the inside lane of a highway in a high density commercial district and he couldn't pull off the road.
Yes.
Again, you know, it was a story that I didn't believe, and then getting a call 90 minutes later, less than 90 minutes later, about Maddie's disappearance, and I go, that's too coincidental. Two events like that in a single afternoon.
Well, that's the obvious part, Nanoska. That's the obvious part. Again, you know, think about your parents. If your parent, anybody, whoever's parents are still alive, draw from that. I'm just saying, I'm looking at both sides of it here. And I mean, the obvious part is they raised them, and I think they came on. And I think when Deb reached out, it was because she wanted this to stop. I'm sure it's hitting hard with these jail calls right now, guys. It is. It's and this is very obvious. And you can see Lauren's face and Dr. John. They want to interject, but they want them to keep talking, guys. That's what people do with patients. and a little bit of grace and a little bit of tact, and you're able to get people to talk. All right, let's keep going.
I don't believe in coincidences, didn't believe that, but wanted to, I was there to support the story until it was different. And unfortunately, I found out a couple of days later, if I had seen that TV interview that they held the next day, my attitude and demeanor with him would have been considerably different than me making the trip to Orlando and helping he and Maddie out, or Jennifer out, for sure.
Now, remember, this was after the jail calls, you guys. Now, I know many of us forget because things keep coming out in a not so organized way, right, as it does. And so the phone calls that came out were from 6 months ago. This was after that. So we're hearing a delay in the phone calls. This is after that, right? Okay, so let's keep going. Sherlock, homegirl, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. And yeah, that's what it's sounding like too, right? It sounds like that. What's up, my friend? Isabel, I love your energy. Remind me of my son's energy. You and him, so humble. I love it. Keep doing what you do, sweetie. Thank you. I appreciate you, Isabel. Appreciate you. All right, let's keep going. We're here for justice for Madeline Soto.
The police kicked everybody out of the townhouse and quarantined it, roped it off. They had no money. They had no place to go. He didn't want to go to the in-law's house, of course, or to her mother's house. They got along like oil and water. But
thank you.
It was, Chris went there to get them into a hotel and to be there as emotional support for them, for a missing child, not for anything else.
Not for an escape route or to hide them.
Nope.
You knew that Madeline was missing. You didn't know why. And you thought, I can give them a place to stay.
Yeah. And then, I wanted some quality time with them. Again, I just kicked myself for not seeing that TV interview, because my conversation would have been
it was after you couldn't have seen it.
I know that, but the interview took place before I got up there. That's the thing. But I didn't find out about it till Friday, and it happened on Tuesday. But my conversation with him would have been very confrontational, and I wouldn't have.
So this was right at 6 months ago, guys. And if you look at the interviews, they were in July, right? Some of them were June, July. So you go August, September, October, November, December, March. We're right at that time frame. So when we come in at the very beginning, I wonder if when he says, I haven't talked to him in 3 weeks, that's what is going on. That's that time between the time they last talk. Do you remember all the phone calls and the date? So let me look this up. This was literally, I'll look it up while you're listening. This was 6 months ago, and then I can give you the date of the last phone calls. He said he hadn't heard in months. All right. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. I appreciate you. Much love to you. Much better than not getting the love and getting yelled at, right? I'm sure he wasn't allowed over there. Didn't want to go. They didn't want him there. All right, let me look that up for you guys. Let's play this while I look up the last phone call and this.
I've been satisfied until I got the truth from him. When I questioned him as best as I could, now that he was in incarceration, obviously he couldn't give me the answers. The best he could come up with is that I wasn't able to think. Well, he was thinking a lot of other things and taking a lot of actions and doing a lot of things that obviously he was thinking. But again, that would be an appropriate response from Stephan, because again, keep telling the lie. But the amount of time that I have from 2:15 Wednesday morning until 4 p.m., I spent a total of 35 minutes with him, and it was over 3 different occasions. First of all, all
right, guys. So let me just tell you quickly, the last phone calls that we're hearing, all of us, are June 16th. They go from June 16th all day, and the 15th, and then June 7th, June 2nd. It goes backwards. June 1st, May 26th is the first jail call, and the last one ends on June 16th, 2024. We're July, August, September, October, November, December. We're in January, February, March. Today is April. Fools with 4 months. All right, 4 months. And I'm glad you got that, my man. I told you I was jealous of that box, the Foxy box. Too bad I don't have hair. We'd be matching beanie buddies. All right. The calls sound so sad. DS isn't there. Seem very detached from Stephan Sterns. Yeah, those were in June, May, and June. All right, guys. So this is 4 months after that. Let's keep going.
That he wasn't at the hotel that morning, and then to learn later that he had left that hotel, went to St. Cloud, went to Northport, and came back, and then obviously so exhausted he passed out in bed. Didn't see him again until 3 o'clock, and again, no time for conversation because now we're down in the lobby of the hotel, and he's now being escorted to supposedly a press conference, which there was a press conference, but he was immediately taken to the rear of the sheriff's department and put in the detention room, and later that evening arrested. Never had a chance to have a conversation with him.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some issue about one YouTuber who called out Chris as a liar because he said he saw a picture on the phone.
Yeah, much later, I mean, I'm having a conversation again, thinking I'm having a private conversation with the deputies back in July. And, Jenn that evening had provided some very graphic detail of the image. She told me in her story was that there was a group of photos that they had downloaded off of Stephan's phone. They wanted to show these images, this package of images to Jennifer. She said that she couldn't see them, but agreed to look at one. Then she shared with me in graphic detail what that image was. 5 months later, I'm thinking throughout that time that she had the opportunity to maybe grab a photo of that, and because once you describe that to me, I can't get it out of my mind. It becomes ingrained and printed, and I'm thinking that there's an image in my mind that I must have seen a photo, and instead of asking a question, I made a comment to the police, and then one of these YouTubers accused me of lying and making this stuff up, and it was really my bad. I apologize. I thought it was an image I saw when in fact it was a graphical image in my mind, but I thought I'd seen a photo.
Thank you. Yes.
So I apologize for that. But again, you're dealing with this stuff 7-8 months ago. There's a lot of stuff going on that evening, especially, trying to gauge Jennifer's demeanor after learning that her daughter had been SA'd. If it was me, I'd be beating the crap out of somebody, whether I physically could or could not. And she was totally composed and
welcome, Kathleen. Glad you caught alive as well. And you guys were on here so we can hear the other side. I don't know if I'm going to listen to 2 hours. We have 473 people here. I'm doing this because we want justice for Maddie and we want to see all sides. Do me a favor though. I'm not a huge person. Like, don't talk about other creators, but when I'm streaming, if you guys could not stray, hey, there's another thing going on right now. Just wait. I know I'm going to cover it as well. I hear you about something else is on another channel. Then it takes people away from mine. So guys, all right, justice for Maddie. Hit the like button so we can get better content further out there. All right. And yeah, let's keep going. They want Jenn to be held accountable, and so do we. Thank you, Brenda. That's a huge point I have. Those were my 2 points. I want to talk about Maddie Soto and the relationship that she had personally with Deb, and I want to talk about Jenn Soto and what accountability she should be held to, what they saw, I have lots of questions, obviously, but not ones that would crucify anybody except for, Stephan Sterns and Jenn Soto. Right? That's okay, Nanaska. No worries. All good. I just don't want people to boop, pop out. We want you guys here.
Quite calm about the whole thing. It was just very strange.
What Now that we're on this topic, there's a rumor out there about
Hey, Sharon. Good to see you, my friend.
about there being SA in Stephans' background. I think some of the rumors involve you guys. Even there's rumors about
Just me.
giving him explicit material. Again, I can't use terms because of YouTube, but what could you guys set the record straight on that?
You bet. Number one,
You bet.
From what we heard, it's Hustler magazine, the nastiest magazine that was ever printed. Never
Okay.
take it home. I would never buy it, and I would certainly never give it to my child. I mean,
None of that material existed in our house. But you know, I'm sure, you know, back then, that day and age, you know, magazines tossed to the street in trash cans. Somebody has it. Other kids bring it to school. Maybe they even try to sell it. But you know, certainly that type of stuff circulated and what have you. Have no idea where he came in possession of this. But it was not provided by us, and there was never any physical abuse or sexual SA abuse at home.
10 hours.
None of that. He was always provided a warm, loving, caring environment. So none of that's true.
Do you think there were any
Hey, my friend.
any
Good to see you.
red flags in that area in terms of, I don't know, maybe
Now you can hear Dr. John being very he's got kid gloves on when he's talking, right? He does that. That's Dr. John. He makes you feel comfortable when he's talking to you. He's not like, hey, what happened at your house? Tell me. I know it. Oh, you're lying. No. Right? He's a real chill dude, and he's a doctor, so he doesn't want you to clam up and say, I don't want Dr. John, right?
maybe some of the girls he was dating in high school, or did you see any red flags about any unusual sexual interest or problems?
His first girlfriend he had in California, he was really had a big crush on her.
Okay.
You know, we met her, sweet girl. We left California when the state went batshit crazy, excuse my French, but hey, it's California. And we left there and came to Florida. You know, at that age, your kids circulate through kids like people go through revolving doors. You know, one kid comes in, hey, this is so-and-so, okay, and then you never see him again. There's a parade of those instances or what have you. One of the dogs, a friend of his came in.
I would actually say that's wrong. That is not the nastiest. Come on, give them more credit than that. They have a place out in San Francisco. I don't know if it's open after COVID, but don't give it that much credit.
Acquaintance of his came in, and she didn't appreciate him. She let it be known too. Kind of nipped him in the backside.
she wouldn't let him in the door.
Yeah.
She backed him up against the wall
Not coming in.
and nipped him on the butt until he went out the door again. And we later found out this was the same friend of his that overdosed on heroin and died.
Oh.
There was another incident, and I don't think we've ever brought this up before, and that
I'm
is
listening.
in California. He was walking down the street with a couple of friends and his girlfriend, and this man was very inappropriate with them. And I'll let Chris tell you the rest of it, but
Well, yeah, cat call or something, and there's
lewd cat call.
there was a shout out to him, and the truck spun around and came back. This guy unfolded himself out of the truck. He was that big, and physically started assaulting Stephan to the point that he was choking him to death. Coincidental to that, we had just come back from Sequoia National Forest where we went camping with the church group, and Stephan had a pocket knife in his pocket and stabbed the guy in the chest to defend himself. The guy was later arrested for physical assault, and Stephan defended himself, but didn't realize that he suffered PTSD from that. I didn't realize that until several years later that he was experiencing that.
He was haunted by it.
Yeah.
He was haunted
What
by
was
it.
the just to clarify? What was the trigger? What was the cause of that?
There was a very lewd remark made, and they shout that to the guys. And it turns out the guy was a meth, but a shout out to the guys that went.
I didn't even know what he was talking about. I'm listening to this story and it sounded like a midget popped out of a trunk and stabbed Stephan in the leg. And I'm like, did Chucky come out and do that? Because didn't that what it sound like? Did you guys? I don't know what just happened. Squirrel. Didn't it sound like some dude like unfolded himself from the trunk and just popped out with a knife and stabbed Stephan and got PTSD from Chucky? I don't know what I just heard, but that was what I was seeing in my head. Me too. I'm like, what? What just happened? A midget in the trunk on a unicycle. Like, I swear that's what I heard. I don't know. I don't know what I'm hearing. Let's keep listening. What happened? Did Chucky come out?
By the truck, maybe an FU or what have you. And they spun around and
They
came
flipped
back.
the bird. They
Sorry,
flipped
that's
the
what I
guy, he
heard.
spun the truck around and came after him.
I'm
And
sorry.
Stephan was the only one that.
I'm sorry. Is that a bad word? What am I supposed to call a tiny person? I'm sorry. That sounded like what they said. Like, okay, sorry. A tiny person came out of the trunk and unrolled, and then came out with a knife and stabbed Stephan, and they scuffled, and Stephan has PTSD. Maybe that's why he likes children. What do you guys think? Sorry. Fun-sized people. My bad. I swear I heard the trunk. I heard somebody popped out of a small person popped out of the trunk. All right, guys. I was trying to give you guys a summary, and that's what popped in my head. So my bad. I didn't use the M word. All right. Let's keep going.
Was physically attacked. Karate or no karate, he couldn't get the guy off of him.
And how old was Stephan?
No, it was a leprechaun.
16, 17.
Maybe 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a really thin guy back then. You know.
Was there
See him.
when you talk about
Thank you.
the line that was starting during his early adolescent years, it sounds like did any of that become criminal behavior at all, or did he ever get disciplined for any antisocial or unusual problematic behavior at that age?
No, that's the thing. There was never any issues with him. I guess a parent's greatest fear is that the kid becomes an alcoholic or a drug addict. I mean,
And sir, your child is both an alcoholic and a drug addict, probably. Now, I don't know about the alcohol part, but the little person, I believe, what came out, the Lucky Charms. All right, it wasn't the truck. It wasn't the trunk. It was a truck. My bad. I was having these stories in my head, and it was just the truck. So I messed that up. Yeah, Garden Gnome came out. You remember what's his name from the other day? Dolly talking about T-Rev. The Garden Gnome T-Rev was over there trying to stab him in the thigh. All right. Hey, it's kind of funny that way, but not a midget. Yeah, lots of things, not a midget. It was a regular person, came out of the truck, and that's it. All right.
Conversations with other friends or what have you would tell me stories about not their kids per se, but other kids. It's tragic what happens with these kids. They get started with this stuff at such a young age. There was an incident one time where we were gone for the afternoon and came home and I went up the stairs and Stephan was coming down the stairs and I had to stop midway and I go, whoa, time out. Oh my gosh. I said, come here. And I said, have you been drinking? And he just reeked of alcohol. Well, apparently he spent the afternoon sampling every alcohol that we had. And we soon got rid of all the alcohol in the house.
Good question.
Believe it or not, he was heading out the door to take his friend home.
What was his age? What was the age at that time?
Yeah.
17? It was just before California. So I don't know,
17,
and sent it to his
oh
room and
my
didn't see him for
God.
2 days. He passed out, and I took the friend home who told me what had been going on that afternoon. But that's the worst thing that we had experienced at that time.
So when you have these incidents, did you guys sit down and kind of have a heart-to-heart with him at all? I mean, what was communication like between you guys?
Oh, we had open communication and dialogue with him all the time. What we didn't have from him was
I know.
truth, or that if he was having a problem, he would come share it with us. He was very close and close-knit to him.
Again, there goes the character witnesses out the window, and then there goes anything that Stephan Sterns was gonna say to his defense, and all those jail calls. That's what's gonna happen. And no, I'm not even tired. It's Tuesday. I'm drinking a Red Bull. I'm just being silly because I've been nervous to do this today. I didn't even want to really come on here and do this. I didn't know if I was gonna get a nasty message from Deb, or if what was going to happen. And people will take everything out of context. They come in, listen to part of it, and don't hear the whole story. So I'm like, these are people's lives, and I want to hear both sides of it. But absolutely, hashtag arrest Jenn Soto, justice for Maddie. Let's keep going. All right. Why you missed the whole thing, Sharon Belko? You'll have to rewind.
I mean, never came to us. Very rarely, unless he needed money, that he came to us with a problem. Hey, I got a problem. I mean, I felt and told Stephan that, why didn't you come to me with this problem that you experienced on Sunday evening or Monday morning, whenever this took place? Hey, I screwed up. Oh, okay. Because the first thing I would have suggested is I'm coming there, and then I'm going to take you to the police. You got to turn yourself in. Let's be out in front of this. And I always told him to be out in front of this. The minute you've done something wrong, own it, fess up to it, and get out in front of it. And I guess he thought he was smarter than the average bear, what have you. Because obviously, if you look at the timelines and the sequence of the chronological narrative summary, what have you, is like, how can he not realize that his trail was being followed? They know everything he did. How can you, in today's technological environment that we live in, do you think you can get away with anything? You can't sneeze and not know that you sneezed.
Now, this was 6 months ago. So anybody that just came in, and Clark says, Jay, I can't imagine your audience disrespecting Deb, no matter what our feelings are regarding those calls. Now, I got to tell you, Clark, what happened was she watched the episode. So I reached out to Deb months and months ago to get an interview or to get her thoughts, anything, for her to even write back to me. And she did on Sunday. And so I'm coming out with that. I made a video about what the context was, and I messaged her back, and she didn't like it. She saw the video that we had done that day, and everybody was talking crap about her. And so before that, she wanted to clear up what was going on, what was happening. There was no kind of abuse that Stephan had. Debbie Sterns loved Madeline Soto. Jenn Soto's a POS, basically. Tomorrow, you'll be able to watch the video and hear exactly what. All right? So that's what it is. Yeah, I do too, Thomas. I do too.
I don't know how he thought he could get away with any of this. So our deepest desires to discover more about Stephan, learn from him, and we're going to kind of lean on you, John, to help us provide some clarity to Stephan. It's a son that we didn't know versus what we did know about our son, and the complete opposite of one another. We feel blessed that we found you guys. You reached out to us, and it gave us the opportunity to do a deep dive into your channel and it was a welcome relief to see, you know, the professionalism of what you guys put out there, and the fact that John's got a medical background brings a lot of legitimacy.
My bad. Thank you for the no sound. I had to mute it because Reese was in here. Okay. So I'm answering this. This was 6 months ago. So I'm going to say August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Nope. It was after that. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. This was in October. I remember this being around Halloween time. The jail calls were in, the last one was June 16th, 2024. So from June 16th, 2024 until October, there's been no jail calls released. All right. All right, let's keep going. Sorry for that. Yeah, Reese was bringing in Red Bulls. Exactly. There you go.
To your channel, you guys truly represent what we believe should be represented in these crime channels that exist out there, and not the circus that they do represent. I mean, but
Thanks.
You know, it's
chapstick.
It's a shame. It's reckless abandonment that they utilize. It's basically inciting a lynch mob against us, and God forbid anybody should cross their paths, because they'll just attack you. I mean, you look at these broadcasts that they have, and then you just watch the thread of comments that are made as if they're really relevant. But I guess the people feel, and maybe you can answer this, John, is that why do people feel like that they have to lash out if not to make themselves feel better about themselves? I truly don't understand that. The fact that they spend these hours watching this stuff is just amazing. Don't they have lives?
Yeah, and I want to say, you know, it's almost, this is what I've seen.
This is our life, sir. Excuse me. This is our life. This is what we're doing, right? Exactly. And not just a girl, Madeline Soto. She's changed the way Florida is looking at the justice system right now. I mean, I hope Maddie's law goes through, but this is about Madeline Soto, a forever 13. She had just turned 13, only a few days, and everybody wants justice, but Florida is going to, in my opinion, change the way they see things with this case. And we're not going to accept another Casey Anthony, in my opinion. All right, guys, Maddie's life did matter. And at the beginning of this episode, I started out with showing you a picture, several pictures of Maddie, and saying this is what we're here for, is justice for Madeline Soto. However we get to that is how we're going to get to that. The in-between stuff is what counts, and every day we try to make it count with what we're doing. And if we're not covering Maddie, we're trying to help other children or people, right? So that's what we do around here. We speak for the voiceless. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here for the BS. Thank you so much, Lynn Suter. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. I appreciate you. All right, guys, let's keep going.
Seen oftentimes in the true crime community, it's almost like,
hey, Auntie
you're
Reed.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. None of us can imagine what you're dealing with right now. Maybe there are some people, I'm sure there is a small club out there that understands a bit of what you're going through, but I would say the majority of people have no idea the type of situation and what that is like for both of you. No one, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And it's true, if you don't speak, shame on you for not speaking up, right? And if you do speak, they're going to scrutinize everything that you say.
Damn if you don't. So we've been handcuffed for the last 7 months, almost 8 months, we've been held to strict silence.
Not no more.
So I think we've been chastised, criticized for not responding, but people don't realize that, there's some legal proceedings going on here, and we don't want to misspeak. And now that all the information is out there, not that we knew anything, because we didn't know anything until it was released to the public. So we're learning just as much as everybody else does whenever this information is released. Stephan is constrained to tell us anything because he's under instructions from his attorney. So
now it's interesting about this conversation, folks, because what they're saying when we originally heard this in October, what he's saying, we can say, yeah, that's true. But now that the jail calls are released, we're hearing a lot more. That is a huge context to this conversation right here, because all those calls were released 4 months at least before this interview. So they talked about, and I don't blame him for not saying, oh, we talked about the possibility of it being Jenn. Jenn was involved, and what happened with Stephan. He woke up. Like, they're not going to create the narrative for Stephan Sterns and say, well, we talked to Stephan on the phone, and he said he woke up, and when he woke up, Maddie was already gone, and it was hours and whatever. But remember that as he's talking, we heard those jail calls. All right. And I agree, Shannon. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. At least they're talking. I also got to tell you, this is going to help the prosecution no matter what anybody says. I'm going to have to go way on the side of helping the prosecution. Jenn Soto, her family's just hiding her. And they said it. For those of you that didn't see my comment earlier, or you didn't hear the phone call on Friday, there's a lady that called Yolanda, and I always got to take people with what they, with what they say with a grain of salt, right? So the caller called in, and she called Yolanda's office, the office that Jenn Soto and Stephan were in, that office, and asked, where's Jenn Soto? Why are you hiding her? What are you doing? Or whatever. Where is Jenn? Why don't you hold her accountable? And Yolanda yelled at her, and she said, we're protecting my daughter. And she hung up and told her to get a life. So that's where Yolanda's at. That's where the Sotos are. I got to tell you, I wish there was a story I can tell you. There's a story that I know about with the Soto family and the whole memorial vigil thing that I can't even really talk about, but they're not accepting of any of us that have been persecuting Jenn Soto. I'll tell you that right now. Nothing. If I was to say I want to send you a Forever 13 locket, or they're like, nope, we heard what you're saying about Jenn, and they shut us out. I'll tell you, I can tell you that much.
And obviously what we have learned has been quite shocking to us. Very disappointing to say the least. And then of course now we're trying to self-analyze, what we did or didn't do that caused this, and we're not even sure. Well, we know we're not the cause
right?
of it. We're trying to pursue a conversation about an accident Stephan had 30 years ago as the possibility of causing this TBI. 30 years ago when Stephan had this accident, and just so the public can know what that consisted of, Stephan was literally run over by a pickup truck twice. He and a friend were playing in a parking area, and when he was 7 or 8 years old, a guy came out to his truck, a small Toyota pickup truck. Hey guys, how you doing? Gets in the truck and immediately backs over them. Pushes Stephan down into a bit of a.
And sorry, but I'm gonna say sorry, not sorry. I wish he would have got up and backed right over him again, because that would have caused all of this to stop. Nowhere am I going to, I'm not sympathetic for Stephan Sterns at all whatsoever. Never going to get a freebie pass. I think it's BS. I think this is the Wade Wilson defense. Go look at my brain, and he's got a TBI. It's not going to work on Florida. It's not working on me. So I'm not going to sympathize with this at all. Yes, I wish he would have ran him over and then backed up over him and then kept going, because this would have stopped all of this. Thank you, Rachel Burton, for the 99-cent super sticker. I appreciate you. And yes, so many people did fail Maddie. And where are the Soto family? Where is Jenn Soto? All right, go outside for a smoke, girlfriend. Go do it. All right, let's keep going.
A hole in the parking lot, drove right over him, and hit him in the head with the bumper as he backed up the first time, and then if that was enough, he pulled forward and ran over him again. The fact that Stephan isn't
they hit him in the back of the head first, and then when Stephan raised up to look, he heard the kid screaming. He quickly put it in gear and drove forward and hit him in the front.
Oh, good.
Over his body, up over.
He should have backed up again.
The fact that he wasn't permanently disabled and wheelchair bound is a miracle.
Thank the mud.
But
I was about to say that, Nanaska. All these misses, so many people trying to kill him. Leprechauns and truck drivers and garden gnomes. All these crazy people. The small people are trying to get him. Don't forget the meth heads, you guys. All right? He should have backed up, went forward, whatever. Went forward, backed up, and then went forward again then. I'm sorry. My bad. Yolanda said Maddie walked to her office crying and saying she didn't want to be at her house, and Yolanda told her to go home. I think she didn't want to be in the middle. In my opinion, I believe you should be in the middle if your granddaughter is telling you that. All right? I'm not holding her accountable, and I'm not saying that she that arrest Yolanda or anything like that, but hold Jenn Soto accountable by all means. All right, and if she is a true Christian, she knows what the good book says about people who hurt children. My dad had a TBI and never did any. Yeah, many people do, and just like Wade Wilson, nobody's buying it. All right.
There wasn't when he was released from the hospital. The doctor said, "Hey, be cognizant of any difference in his attitude and his demeanor and such." And we pressed for more information, and we just told that he could have some headaches, dizziness, nausea, sensitivity to light and stuff. May not be able to wake up or go to sleep. And there could be some other physical traits. He developed a tic for a while, and he outgrew that. He did suffer
PTSD.
From PTSD and also separation anxiety. But we just never knew what to expect. But they just told us to be on the lookout for things. And what we did find is that his personality changed.
That I agree.
He changed 180 degrees. He was a high energy kid, full of love, laughter, and such, and to something totally different.
The troglodyte.
And then he started experiencing some educational problems, and Debbie can relate to that. We had to put him into an individual education plan and what have you. And we finally realized that we needed to take him out of the school and put him into a homeschool environment, which was held to a strict regime. And Debbie did a great job of managing that for him. We also did as much as we could to encourage him to participate in sports. I tried to expose him to as much sports as possible. He didn't seem to have a lot of.
So they did in the beginning. The narrative is changing a bit right here when he's talking about this. They're talking about Stephan being a liar and a manipulator, and they didn't know him at all. But then they're also talking about this as well. This is quite a long interview. But yeah, there's no excuse. I'll never give an excuse for what Stephan did. Do I sympathize and empathize with Chris and Debbie? Yeah, absolutely. I could. I told you in the beginning, my mom, same 70, she's 72. My brother, my nephew in prison, same type of stuff. Not pedos. No. If they were, I wouldn't even be, I'd tell you. But do I hear my mom coddling them? Yes. All right, you guys are laughing behind the scenes about something. Hold on, Reese is calling me. Go ahead.
Interest in group sports per se. Kind of gravitated towards track. He was fast. He was always fast as a kid on his feet, and in spite of his injury, he was a speedster. But that didn't last long because he apparently had a kidney disorder that required some immediate surgery, and he had to have some emergency surgery to take care of that. Again, he discovered an interest in Shokan karate and did well with that. He managed to get a brown belt in that, but we were forced to move away to California. Well, actually, no. Where did we go after that? He was in Georgia. Yeah, we went to California. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife's mother was dying of cancer, so we went out to be with her in her last few years. But we later introduced it to scuba diving. We kept trying to introduce him to things that would be motivating enough to provide enough incentive to where maybe he would be motivated to go out and get a job and earn some money to pay for these things, because it didn't try to overindulge him with money and access to money per se. I was trying to use that as an incentive and motivation to go out and get a job.
It didn't work.
It didn't work too well, but
yeah, it didn't work.
Everything seemed to be focused towards solitary pursuits. We loved reading games, Pokemon games, Warcraft,
and it stayed that way, sir. It stayed that way. Stephan never got past the Pokemon cards and the little trinkets and games and things to attract the children. Right now, that I agree. That I wish Maddie's mom would have protected her. And I wish that when Deb stepped in, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she talked to Stephan and talked to Maddie and said, you guys are too old for this. It's not looking too good. This is not a good idea. That Jenn didn't step right in. And now the abuse was already happening by then, I'm sure. But why didn't Jenn Soto protect her child? So we want to blame the teachers. We want to blame these people. We want to blame everybody. We want to blame Yolanda. We really should be blaming Stephan Sterns and Jenn Soto here. Now, again, yes, enablers, right. The parents do that with their children. Absolutely. All right.
And other things. If he liked something, man, he drilled in on it. He focused in on it.
Possibility.
He really truly excelled at that, and things that he did excel at. Again, try to encourage him to assimilate, a normal flow of life.
Purple dragon.
There was almost always a disconnect. It'd been a very frustrating experience for us. To get him to assimilate into a normal life. We're getting on in our years, we're in our early 70s.
Yeah. So you talked about communication was open, it sounds like, and you were able to talk to him about quite a bit, or at least when he was willing to talk. What about the emotional connection? How would you guys describe your emotional connection to your son when he was younger?
I thought it was very close and loving.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was really close up until the accident, and not that we changed, he changed. I mean, he was, if you show you photos of him, as a kid, I mean, he's running through the house on the tips of his toes, and
nobody did anything.
Speed demon, laughing and giggling all the time. Really a quite bubbly personality. I mean, we discovered very early on that if he was focused on something, forget about it. We were
like Madeline Soto. He was focused on her for 6-7 years. I agree. And I do wonder why they put her. Now I know it's a better school. That's why. That's a good possibility. I didn't even think about Jenn isolating her further from her friends, that's a good assumption there. Definitely good assumption. Spoiled rotten and played on it, manipulative. I agree. Yeah, the brother changed his name. As a parent doesn't protect their child, who will? Right. Nobody, as we can see in the Madeline Soto case.
At a hotel one time, and he got he got the key to the refrigerator or bar in the room, and he was sitting there at the age of 3 with that key, and he was relentless in getting that key into that lock and unlocking that lock. But that's how focused he could be. But he was, we loved that kid to death, smothered him. What?
You didn't smother him.
Well, smothered him with love, whatever. But you know, we there was never any denial of any outward affection from him and us, and even to this day, still a lot of outward display of love and affection. Nothing, as I said, ever gave us any clue or warning to.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
To his recently discovered behavior. I mean, this, like I said, this is a son that we don't know. It's not the son that we do know. So,
Debbie, you even homeschooled Stephan for a time, and
oh God, people say homeschool. I don't think that's the way. I agree with certain people doing that for various reasons. And Alizita, what we do as a society is to, well, number one, we need to do something. When we see something, we don't need to just say something and make a call. We need to do something. We have to interject ourselves into situations. Sometimes maybe not like interject where you're going to get your family hurt or yourself, but number one, what could be done is to do something about it. More people do something than just talking about it and gossiping and, oh, this or that. People got to do things. I don't know how to fix a situation on a whole because there's so many predators. The predators are in the system, Alizita. You're talking about a situation like this. How many predators were in this situation? We know Stephan was. I believe Jenn was involved. How many other people were? That's the problem. That's the hard part. Who are the good people and who are the bad people? Who are the ones that are playing a part in it and who are the ones that aren't? I don't even know how to begin to fix this situation other than Jenn should have protected her daughter, period. And we wouldn't be here today. We might have been in a situation where Stephan did that to Maddie and she was able to get out of it and get therapy and move on. But I don't know. Predators are genius at hiding themselves. And then you get a predator that hides himself and the mom or the person involved doesn't say anything or do anything. And all the people around them don't do anything either. So where do you have that? Homeschooling is not I just said it's not the way. I don't agree with you. Homeschooling. I just said that, goof. Being a regular school. I just said that, Patty. I said homeschooling is not the way for me. I say for other people, I agree, but heck no. I think that my child's got to be out there and be in society. I don't agree with homeschooling. I've been told many times to homeschool Reese. Aren't I afraid of what's happening in the world? That's the world that's happening. That I grew up out there, and that's why I'm as confident as I am because my mom put me into regular school system. I was able to navigate myself and learn who I am. So no, I do not agree with homeschooling at all. I think you heard that wrong. but you know, whoever does, that's, I'm not going to play you down. I'm not going to play it down. To whoever wants to protect their children and homeschool them, then hey, go for it. I'm not going to be like, you're wrong.
And that's actually been brought up in numerous conversations on YouTube as well. Do you want to share a little bit about why you chose to do that and what that was like?
Because it was a daily fight to get him out of bed, dressed, and out the door to go to school. It was a daily fight to get him to do his homework. We had several conferences with teachers, and even on the IEP, he was not progressing. So I talked to the principal of the school, and I said, what can I do? And she said, have you ever tried homeschooling? And I said, well, no. Don't you have to have, a full college degree for that? Because I'm short a few credits. I don't have my degree yet. And she says, no, you don't have to, because you are going to be supporting him, but he's going to be doing his classes with Florida Virtual School. So that's what happened. And we were able to get him up at 10 in the morning.
Yes.
So maybe that's coddling him, but it was easier on me too, because I usually don't go to sleep until 2 or 3 in the morning. So, hey, I didn't have to be up at 6:30 in the morning to get him up. He was able to eat food. And
Now, remember, Stephan Sterns did this to his parents. His parents may have done that to him and coddled him and babied him, but my sneaking suspicion is still that they did this out of love for Stephan. Their older parents, you guys, well, he's 38 or so, and let's say 72, 73. I'm 45, my mom's 70. So as you get a little bit older, they had another child. They coddled him, yes, but again, I believe it was out of love, no matter what, if it was overbearing or not the right amount of love. Stephan, they did that to Stephan, and he did that to them. All of this that's happening is because Stephan wanted to do these things with Maddie, and he did. He abused her, and that's what happened. That's what happened here in this justice for Madeline Soto. All right, guys. What's up, sweetie? Good to see you. Yeah, do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. I appreciate you guys for taking the time and listening to the narrative that I'm playing for you. Thank you. Thank you for being respectful.
And we were able to take short breaks and progress at a rate that would interest him, because some stuff he could just speed through. English language, sentences, reading, history, science. He loved all of that, and he devoured it. Math, no.
Hates math.
Math for me, no. So I called it a tutor. You're usually good at one thing. If you're good on the historical and the English side, you're usually not good on math. I don't have a linear brain. So I had to bring in a tutor. But he had to take his tests orally with a proctor over the phone, and I could not be in the room. And did I help him with his homework? Yep, I did. Don't most people help the kids with their homework?
I have to be honest with you guys. What I'm hearing in this interview, like right now, it sounds to me like they're mourning Stephan Sterns. If you take it from the very beginning, and they've been here, it's an hour and 41 minutes we've been here together, but it literally sounds like they're talking about a son that they're never going to be with another birthday. They're not going to be with him for his birthday at a party. They sound like they're talking about their son that passed away, which again, he didn't pass away. He's in prison by his own volition. He did that to himself. So that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if Dr. John is going to interject and talk about that, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're talking about a child that's gone. Stephan Sterns' parents, absolutely, they're like Chris Watts. They refuse to admit the guilt, because that would mean they have to admit, although at the beginning of this, they did admit that. They did admit that. They're definitely not going to be able to be a good character witness, that's for sure.
I didn't do it for him, but I helped him.
I wish you were my parent, because I never got help with homework.
Anyway, I also gave him courses that they weren't offering in school. We did marine biology. We did oceanography. We did stuff that he liked. He loved dinosaurs. We looked into that. So I feel like he got a better education at home than he got in school. He didn't have the distractions.
He didn't have to wake up.
Work. He wasn't distracting the kids around him, and he wasn't frustrating the teacher.
Yes.
So when he described his algebra teacher to me.
Now, when you have to look at the brighter side of a situation, and that's what the brighter side is, hey, you'll take it. At least they're not like the Laundry family. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard any parents do, is to sit, like, literally right to your face. You say, hey, I'm looking for my daughter, and you know what happened, and your son's sitting in there, and you're not doing anything. And all the way up until they found his body, I believe they took some of that evidence when they found him first. All right, just saying. Thank you. Be real. We're gonna have some beanies on the website soon, and then you could be part of the Guilty of Crime crew family with cool beanies. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I see. All right, let's keep going. This one's long. I don't know what I'm gonna do here.
As a woman who stood at the blackboard with her back to the class, talked to the backboard while doing, combinations up on the board, doing algebraic expressions, and they couldn't understand her, couldn't hear her, and she never helped anybody do anything. And I said, why is he even here? you were still allowed to participate with the school because you were still basically enrolled with the school. So he still got to go to prom. He still got to go to graduation. He walked and got his diploma.
Got the cap and gown and the whole thing.
Yep.
What was he? So was he in the virtual program throughout the entirety of high school, or just a few years? What was the
2.5 years in high school?
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that he tended to be a bit solitary. Was that after high school, or was he a bit of a solitary person in high school as well?
Yes, he had his cadre of close friends. He didn't have a huge group of friends. He had 4 or 5 close friends, and that was all he wanted in his life. Just his little circle of friends. He was not a social butterfly by any means.
And do you think that the accident had something to do with that?
I think so. He was quite gregarious beforehand. He would run. He would go and knock on people's doors and say, "Do you have somebody my age that I can play with?" You know, he would introduce himself to people. He would run around and ride around his bicycle, looking to see if there were any games he could join in. Now, he did do kickball and stuff like that, and he went fishing. Taught him to fish
once.
I was the fisherman, not him. I kind of was more of an outdoorsy person because of the horses, and I also got Stephan a horse. He wanted a horse. He got a horse, but he had to promise to work with me in the barn. And that meant cleaning, shoveling poop, bringing shavings in, hauling hay with me, going and picking up more shavings, which
she sure did. And you remember, you'll hear about what was said tomorrow. She reached back out to me. First, we start on Facebook, and then we moved to text messaging. So yeah, absolutely. All right. That's why I want to see the other side of this. I mean, no one wants to talk to you if you're blaming them. Yeah, horses are expensive, but if you have a farm out in Florida or out in the middle of nowhere, I think they did have a bit of money earlier on with their with owning the business that they had that was like real estate type of stuff. Yeah, the Purple Dragon, guys, the Purple Dragon. Now we're talking about that. What's up, Lorene? Good to see you. And Sharon, there you go.
All the kids loved that because they got to ride in the pickup truck on top of all the shavings. But and now people are saying that sounds like this the worst thing I could ever do is to have him actually work to support his horse and to help me because I was having some physical problems from these surgeries I had on my feet. So there were some things that I just couldn't do. But he loved it. He loved running out at night. He would just grab a hunk of mane, hop on their bareback, and they just run around the pasture. Every night we went out together and gave the horses peppermint candy before we went to bed. So it was, to me, that was an ideal life. He was able to go into the woods and go fishing, catch frogs, catch lizards, catch snakes.
You guys are helping me kind of develop a picture of your son, and the more you talk about him, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels to some extent like your son was very childlike in a way. Like it's almost like with his interest in games as an adult and the solitary pursuits, it almost sounds like he really struggled to grow up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I will also say he's a narcissist.
Okay.
It was all about Stephan. When Stephan wanted something, Stephan wanted it then. He didn't want to wait. He didn't want to wait for Christmas. He didn't want to wait for his birthday. It was now, and he would throw a fit. And that was hard. That was hard on us, but it was harder on him because we didn't give into it.
Kind of even when he was younger, he would teenage years, he never grew out of that.
No. We kept waiting for. It seemed like there was a disconnect. You were like kind of this close, and all you needed to do is make this connection. It is like
John. He had no impulse control.
Yeah.
Really,
okay.
if he wanted to do it, he did.
That's a big deal. Impulse control. Now, a lot of children don't have good impulse control when they're children, you guys. But you gotta figure out the things to do to help direct that. Yeah, Thomas, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, our son did not have impulse control, so to speak, either. His impulse control was terrible, but that's what kids do. And you got to learn to direct them properly. Again, I'm not going to judge and say, because I don't know that my son's not going to go be, or maybe my son's doing weird shit right now. He's 25 years old. He lives in his own apartment. He has a girlfriend, and I don't know what he's doing all the time. I don't want anything bad to happen with him, but I raised him, and yeah, the world is full of lack of impulse control. Exactly. All right. And yeah, and my son got that many times. But if he were to go commit some awful, heinous crime, I would hate for you guys to be like coming back at me and saying, you did that, you created that. Well, at least I can say I didn't give birth to either of my children. So then I can blame it on Tori. Let's keep going.
And then he paid the consequences later. He got put on restrictions. He had his car taken away. At one point, I went in and stripped his room of everything that he had because he had gone for 6 weeks without cleaning his room, and I had begged him for 6 weeks, please clean your room, or I'll come in and do it. No, I'll do it myself. Okay. Well, finally, I went in there and I took his wallet. I took his car keys. I went out and took the tags off of his.
Again, I got to reiterate this. Jenn Soto also did that for Stephan Sterns. What was she getting out of it? Well, we know what he was getting out of it, but what was she getting out of it? She literally went over to Mom's and Pop's house, Chris and Debbie, and this I'd love to ask them. I love to. Jen said it, and so did the roommate. They wanted to go visit his house, and he told them absolutely not. My room's too dirty. So Jen went over to these people's house and went and cleaned his freaking room for him. All right. I can't even, I don't even know. I'd love to hear what they have to say about that.
His car, and I told him you were grounded. Period. Until that gets done. And his friends were laughing their butts off at him, saying you just got jacked by your mom. Said, get in there and clean your clothes, clean the closet, and clean up your room, which he finally did because of his friends, not because of me.
Yeah.
So it's like
that. Yes.
Always, I'll do it, and never get done.
Yeah, it's
tomorrow. Everything's more convenient tomorrow.
Everything was a procrastination, unless he wanted something, and then he was Johnny on the spot to do it.
Tell me about his friends. What were they like?
What was what?
Tell me about his friends. What were they like?
Well, so
I don't know, but she did.
We were never very approving of them because you're the sum of the 5 people you know, and these kids were not very motivated.
They had their own family issues, and a lot of them came and stayed with us when they were on the outs with their parents.
They seemed to be more interested in drugs, alcohol, partying, sleeping, and just sex. And not doing anything.
And sex.
I
heard
grew
that
up differently from that. I was blessed to have a good circle of friends. Debbie the same, but how he seemed to gravitate toward these people that weren't a good influence for him, which is why we disapproved of Jen, because again, she was not a good influence for him. But that's what he seemed to gravitate to. And we didn't.
What do you think drew him to those types of people? What do you have any thoughts about that?
I do. We used to call it the wounded bird syndrome. He needed somebody he could coddle and protect. And he did that. And he treated those girls very, very well, from what I heard and saw. I wasn't with him in the bedroom. I wasn't with him when he was doing whatever he was doing. And I didn't want to be. So.
Now, good question, Tamika. From my understanding, Chris was out and about quite a bit when Stephan was younger. Stephan spent a lot of time with mom, and unless I hear otherwise from Chris, I believe he traveled a lot. There was one point in their relationship where they filed for divorce, and again, unless I hear otherwise from you, Chris, the rumor has it that he was out there having an affair for a long time. So that's a good question, and I agree. I don't think that it's an unpopular opinion, maybe nowadays, but yeah, a strong male for a male is a good thing. I don't see a problem with that. I don't see a problem at all. Good to see you, M, my friend. Good to see you.
I think he just felt so, his self-esteem was very low that maybe he just gravitated, didn't feel that he was worthy of somebody equal to him, greater than him. You're always better off, I think, associating with people that are smarter, have more to offer than somebody certainly beneath you, because they're just going to drag you down.
Interesting.
There was in this most recent interview with Jennifer on our channel, she mentioned the police officers asked her about his previous relationships, and she mentioned a possible younger girlfriend in high school. Do you know about that? She said that Stephan would have been graduating later, so he would have been like 19 or 20, and she might have been 15. I think that was said in the interview, but that's not accurate.
He graduated on time. He graduated at 17.
Okay.
I'm not sure who she's referring to. We have seen in some other conversations with YouTube about the possibility of somebody younger, maybe underage. There's a possibility, Debbie and I don't recall. We might have met her once. Again, like I said, there was always a parade of kids passing through one time. But I've seen some information out there about this person, and I think one of Stephan's friends alluded to it in a conversation on another YouTube about a younger girl. But I only assumed that it was an acquaintance and that there wasn't any type of relationship. And again, later, from what I'm seeing from the information I've seen out there, that there was never, to my understanding, there was never a relationship there, but we were aware.
That's actually really funny that you brought that up. Be real too about the Irish temper, because that's what I got too about the Irish temper in her message. So funny. I thank you so much. I'm gonna call you Pillow Princess because it makes me laugh. Princess Pillow, thank you for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. And I want to know, I know Irish temper is like the Irish people supposedly have a temper, and that's what she also said when she wrote back about an Irish temper. And I just assumed that, I guess, Irish people have a temper. It says, I do, however, have an Irish temper. She says, I have deep empathy for others, but I do have an Irish temper, as we saw in this interview. Thank you so much again for that. Pillow Princess. All right, let's keep going.
We're made aware that this person was younger than what she appeared to be.
In the last few months, never then. But the other thing is do most parents stop their girlfriends at the door and say, excuse me, do you have ID and how old are you? The only thing I remember of her was Stephan coming in and saying, hi, this is so-and-so. I can't even remember her name. That's horrible.
That's like I said, it's just a parade of people.
We're going to go up and watch some TV. Is that okay? Yeah, sure. Would you like some snacks? Get you some Cokes, chips, whatever. Go up with you. And that was it. She came back down. She wasn't adjusting her hair. She wasn't adjusting her clothes. Right. I don't think they were up there having sex. They were just visiting. And it was only like a 45-minute visit. So
that's because Stephan only likes children, Deb and Chris. He only likes children if they're above the age of like 8. I think he likes 8 to 10. He only likes children. That's the thing. And I don't know which YouTube interview they're referring to here. I'm not quite sure. There were a couple friends that came forward, and I'd have to look back at the one somebody said the girl was like 17 when he was in his 20s, but I know there was another girlfriend before he was 18 that we see pictures with. But either way, Stephan Sterns likes children.
Who knows?
Right.
No.
All right, we're going to listen to a little more of this. We're only halfway through and it's 2 hours, you guys. Bottom line, if you listen to the beginning of my interview, Stephan Sterns' parents speak out about Maddie. They talk quite a bit about her. What got me was Deb talking about loving and having a relationship with Maddie. And then listening to all the jail calls and thinking, man, this is going to really help the prosecution. And I ask you, does it help the prosecution or the defense? Now, tomorrow, the video is going to come out to members only first. And I wanted you guys to get a baseline of what it feels like to have a middle ground here instead of just like, wah! Go burn the house down, right? Dr. John's here, Lauren talking to them, and we're kind of hearing things out. And really, we're here for justice for Maddie. So we're going to listen a little bit longer. We're at our 2-hour mark. You guys do me a favor. We have 550 people in here. If you can hit the like button and then share with your friends. Tomorrow, there'll be a 25-minute video out that tells you everything. All right. And today is, in fact, today is April Fool's Day. Do not play a prank on me. Don't do it.
And I never questioned anybody. The other girls that he was with, he was in school with at the time, so they were his age.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that. Were most of his friends his age, or was he drawn to younger friends?
That's
They
a
were
good
all
question.
his age.
As far as we know.
Aww.
As far as you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I did get it.
It's also been mentioned, and I guess this goes back to John's question about him being childlike. Pokemon cards and some toys as an adult. Was that an interest of his? Was it toys or was it simply Pokemon or?
No, the Pokemon died when we were in Windermere.
Oh no, Pokemon. It's obviously it's a big cult. It's a collection now.
Yeah, it is.
It had told me fairly recently that it had become a big thing. Stephan was big into that at the height of Pokemon, but he said that the cards have a higher value now, and that there's a cult out there that collects this stuff.
Thank you so much, Profe Frere. I did get the $20 Venmo. I appreciate it. Now I know what you look like, my friend. It's good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Yeah, this is a long one. We're going to be on here for a little bit more, and then we'll head out. Tomorrow will be a big day, but you guys understand where I'm coming from. I appreciate your respect.
Stuff and it lives. He's always into the latest and greatest of toys. And my God,
happy birthday!
Being exposed to all the toys available at Disney, forget about it. Oh my gosh, he was
Star Wars.
What are those?
Kimagachis.
Thank you. Those things. He had a collection of those.
I hate pranks, Gary.
Unbelievable. Lightsabers. Boy, you could come to, forget about coming to the house, you could get your head lasered off, lightsabers all over the place, and spend all this money on that. It's like, hey, but we're not taking care of your car.
Right.
So we're talking lightsabers as a 37-year-old, not 16.
Correct.
Well, both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Never got over
Gotcha.
it.
Okay.
Maintaining.
But yeah, it's odd to me that a 37-year-old man would buy one of those. What is it? The white helmets on the bad guys.
Star Wars helmet, whatever.
And glove, whatever the glove was that.
Well, listen, you've got these guys that are just into this stuff and they just collect the stuff, and he obviously had a fetish for it. What can I say?
And I know we're in the middle of this, but that's a good prank. Ha ha. Mara says, "You've been kicked off Turtle Island. Haha, April Fools." If you guys don't know what that is, I'm going to post it again on my community page. There's a show called, it's on Dolly Uncensored, Turtle Island, and Guilty of Crime is on there. I'll post it so you guys can check it out. It's usually Thursdays and Sundays. If we do win at Guilty of Crime, we're going to buy a bunch of merch and give it away. So if you know what that means, you know, it's really funny. All right, let's keep going. Go a little longer.
John, do you have any more questions about Stephan growing up or
no
these types
toys
of-
in jail, bro?
Do you see the
Yeah.
disconnect? How we were just never able to just get him to assimilate into adulthood, and said, "Hey, draw a line in the sand, step over the line, and now we're an adult. Leave this behind, or just visit it every now." But the focus is being an adult. I kept waiting for that shoe to drop, and it just never got there.
The other thing that we were chastised for
that's
apparently
cool.
was allowing him to have a firearm. That was brought up, and that was for his 25th birthday?
No,
We don't know.
21st birthday.
No,
He was
21 was the tattoo.
again. He was robbed at gunpoint at
Yes, he
18.
was.
Well, and anybody that's from Florida knows you can carry, and nobody has a problem with anyone carrying. We have a problem with taking Maddie's life and abusing her for years. So that's a problem. And Thomas, that's because you're not a pedo. That's why. You could be into Legos and skateboards and Star Wars if you don't like children and you're not using that to groom them. It's all good. Yeah, I think that's funny when people say that. A little bit funny because I have lots of characters and toys and things around me as well. But that doesn't mean anything to do with children. It doesn't mean that I'm interested by any means. It has nothing to do with it. But Stephan Sterns is a different breed, you guys. We'll say that.
And he swore up and down that when he became legal age, he was going to be able to defend himself. So when that happened, I immediately
I have a job.
Joined him, and I hired a former Black Ops guy.
There you go, right there.
We spent 40 hours, Stephan and myself, with this instructor for 40 hours.
That's a
doing
good
Not all at one
question.
time.
right one-to-one training with him.
Did competitions.
Yeah, we participated in competition. He was very responsible with that. Taught me a lot because he invested.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm doing there. I have it set as members only right now, and you are a member. I just don't know how I'm gonna present that. If I'm just gonna show the video, or if I'm gonna show the video and do it live. I just don't want an attack and a bunch of stuff people saying bad things and then having to respond. So right now I don't have it set as a live show, but it is a members only because I don't want an attack. That's what I don't want.
Time in educating himself about firearms and what have you. But it was a method for me to bond with him because I wasn't going to hang out in the Star Wars arena.
Yes,
I wasn't going to get caught up in Gamagachis. I wasn't going to be doing that with him.
Or Warhammer.
He called them Gamagachis. It was Tamagotchis. He said Gamagachis. And yes, he's sunk. He has no defense. I agree. The only defense that might come out is if Jenn Soto is part of it. And I agree. I'm not forgetting about you, sweetie. I don't know what to do with you yet. But he's going away for life. And that's how I feel that his parents are coming across in this interview. Like they're mourning him, like he's dead, and he's not. But to them, they're never going to see him out. They're never going to have a birthday party with him out behind the prison walls. All right. So that's just my opinion, how I feel. They're talking about him. They go on to talk about him like a little boy for a while. And then they talk about him being awful. And then they flip-flop, right? Parents, emotions.
But we did go and participate and compete in gun competitions, and it was fun. It was a bonding opportunity, and that's why I got involved with it.
Right?
Yeah, Lauren, to answer your question, I did have another question. After the accident, you guys mentioned that you
That's
thought there
crazy.
were symptoms of PTSD. It sounds like maybe there could have been some depression too. I'm not quite sure, but
yes, I agree completely.
Did you guys ever consider, or did you get him into counseling, or did you try to get any help for him at any point?
Right?
Well, he, as an adult, he was in counseling.
Years.
Yeah, for years. So
Okay.
I don't know. Obviously, we're not privy to what was asked and what have you.
Thank
But
you.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Appreciate
I'm not faulting you. I think I'm just more interested in whether you. I guess part of my question is whether you thought that his problems rose to the level of seeking help, or do you feel like they were kind of under that bar still?
I felt
as
like
a child.
I thought they were.
I agree.
They were under the bar. I never thought that, oh my God, he's so bad, we need to go and get him help.
Thank you.
Let's go put him in a hospital somewhere.
Yeah, no, it was nothing like that. I mean, again, the son we knew versus the son we now know, two different people.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he did get counseling,
By my Leo twin, thanks for stopping by. It's 6:11 here. I've been on for 2 hours and 11 minutes. So yeah, please do rewatch it and then come back around tomorrow. Have a good night, Sharon, my girl, my Leo twin. All right, we got a little bit longer, you guys. We're trying to get to 531 likes. So let's get there. Get there soon.
As an adult, do you know anything about that? Do you know like what age and how long, or did he talk about that with you guys at all?
He was still going through it up to 3 months before he was incarcerated. He was with counseling for years.
Yeah.
It was something he sought out voluntarily, or
Yes, I am.
I think he did it because he wanted to get a marijuana.
Oh my goodness.
So
you guys, everybody say thank you to Sin. She just gifted 20 Guilty of Crime memberships. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock here, and I'm like, I'm ready for bed, drinking my Red Bull at 6 o'clock, right? All right, so yeah, 20 memberships, you guys. Thank you, Synth. I appreciate you. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, everyone's got to behave tomorrow, everyone. She's Linda. I love you people. I love my Guilty of Crime crew family.
In other words, so that would imply
yes,
that
I
the
heard
reason
that.
he was going was for symptoms of trauma.
We don't know. We don't know.
I think he felt like he needed it to I don't know, for anxiety, depression.
He had anxiety.
I bet he did.
I don't know.
Okay.
John, he didn't want to attempt to do something unless he thought he could do it well. It was hard to get him to take that first step to try something new.
Okay. So it sounds like he was also a bit of a perfectionist.
Self-perfectionist and a perfectionist with everybody else.
How about you get him to try to walk off a cliff for all of us, and then we don't have to deal with this monster? Probably not, huh? All right, let's keep going.
Around him. I think he was an emotional bully.
Could you say more about that?
Well, because I think he wanted people to rise to his level when they're talking. If they're talking and they're not making sense to him, he would say something about it. If people don't understand, Stephan had an IQ that bordered on genius. Seriously, I'm not saying that because I'm his mother. I'm saying he was tested.
No,
he was very high IQ.
I don't block any of you people, and if I block you, then that means you're not here. But RL, I wouldn't do that. I don't know how you can't get a membership. I don't know. I'll look at your name, but I wouldn't have blocked anybody that's on the channel, RL. I'll take a look after the show and make sure you're not on some weird thing or timed out. But no, you should not. I don't block anybody from that. Unless you come on talking trash to me, then I'll block you. But most of you save that for Turtle Island, all right? Save that for Turtle Island. Oh, you're April fooling me, huh? All right, RL. I see how you are. I see.
IQ, but the functionality level that he had with that IQ was not there. It didn't match unless he wanted it to. And when it matched, it was magical and it clicked. He could become almost expertise in anything once he did a deep dive into something that interested him. Unfortunately, nothing that he went to find a job with interested him. So,
yeah. Was that testing done, by the way, as a consequence of the TBI, or was it? Let me back up a little bit. That after his accident and the traumatic brain injury, and I guess I should say what a TBI. I guess we haven't defined TBI. Maybe some people at this point don't even know what the TBI stands for. Traumatic brain injury. So in other words, it would be, in simplistic terms, it would be potential brain damage.
yes.
So could you talk a little bit more about the aftermath of that? Was he hospitalized for a period of time?
Nope.
No, they treated him, kept him.
Stephan Sterns has a limited vocabulary. He uses a few words that most people don't use to try to sound smarter than everyone else, but it doesn't work because they're just annoying words like meandering. He talks about making your way, which isn't even the making your way thing. I don't know where that came from, but we can probably make a t-shirt with Stephan Sterns' limited vocabulary. Yeah, he's such a genius. He couldn't get a job and was obsessed with the child. Poor Maddie. That's probably that's the comment of the day. Thank you for that. Justice for Maddie and hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. I'm not going to get off of that. I'm not going to sympathize or empathize with Jenn Soto. Maybe if she comes out and talks about what happened and maybe I can have something to sympathize with. But as she hides there and we don't hear anything and she didn't protect her daughter, no, thank you. Thank you so much, my friend from Florida, Nancy Jean. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, haunting around the house, janky, genius, meandering, hoopty, janky. Yeah, limited vocabulary.
For a couple of hours, did a bunch of x-rays, did an MRI. Came home
too.
Because I think they offered to keep him overnight, but I wanted him to come home. I would rather home than in a hospital exposed to a lot of germs. And I'm kind of weird that way. I don't like hospitals, but I ended up having to take him to a chiropractor to get him to walk straight again. He was walking on a cane for over a month.
Wow.
Okay.
So he walked in there on a cane. He walked out twirling it around like, Groucho Marx. So it worked. But the car had run over his pelvis and his low back when it hit both times. So he got double squatted.
Devil squatted.
Any memory loss from after the accident?
Yes, I did. He couldn't recall things easily. We would have to sit down and refresh his memory on some things that happened. He would look at pictures and he would say, where was this taken? When was this? So yes, he lost a chunk of memory.
And so was the cognitive testing or the neuropsychological testing, was that done later?
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you.
That was that was because of the school system.
Oh,
they highlighted him as they thought potential ADHD, and we ended up going through a doctor then who evaluated him, gave him all kinds of tests and everything, and found that yes, he is ADHD, and he wasn't before. He was very focused before. I mean, the kid was laser scope focused on things. After that, he couldn't keep a conversation going, or he would skip ahead. He would know what you were going to say. He could project out what you were going to say, and he would start answering what you were going to be talking about in 5 minutes before you ever got to it. And it drove his teachers bananas.
Gotcha. And so I presume that whoever did the testing knew about the brain injury.
Yes, they had all the records from the
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. that would be an interesting report to read for sure.
I wish I could find it. I can't. As we've moved
Yeah.
too many times, I don't know. It could be buried somewhere, but I can't put my hands on it. I can't. In fact, we would like to see the doctor's reports too, and I believe that because there was a lawsuit over the accident, that there is a copy of it someplace in Syria.
Now I gotta tell you, there is a copy of it, but you guys, the copy of it, that's all there is a copy of it. There's not much information on it at all. There's been people that are digging and digging, and it just doesn't exist. There's not much on it. I don't think that it's going to be some Wade Wilson, like he's got these brain injury traumatic where they're going to come in and be able to show much of anything. So it's going to be he said, she said type of deal. All right. Now, you know what I think I'm going to do, everybody? I'm going to stop this here. If you guys already seen this, we're at an hour and we're at literally at 111. So again, you guys know how I am with the triple digits. We're at 111. You guys can go over and finish watching it if you'd like. If not, you guys can. I think what I'll do, if you guys want to wait for me tomorrow, I'm gonna play it for members only. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to play the video for you guys so you can see what I made, but I'd really like to go on to Facebook and read the message live with you guys on there. I just don't want people attacking Deb's character and attacking her when I'm trying to go on there and talk to you guys. I don't want people doing that. So I can play the video for the members only and then come on and read it and we could discuss and finish this tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a very long night. 111, absolutely. I appreciate you guys. I've got it set to members only for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. But I wanted to show you guys a different side of things and just give you a perspective on what I'm thinking. And yeah, keep it civil. Keep it civil. If you're attacking people, they're not going to want anything to do with you. And just show respect and keep it civil. So I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. And then I'll come back. I'll change my episode for tomorrow. And I'll come back and do it with you guys. Well, we can finish this off and have a discussion about what went down. I can share my screen and show you what's going down. So hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. And then Tiff here wants me to do a drawing to win, to do a drawing for a person to win a beanie. And then I'm going to imagine that if you guys win a beanie right now, that you're also going to get something special in your package. If you look at the Guilty of Crime stuff, it's funny because people dipped out at $4.89. And I guess we're going to do a giveaway for a beanie real quick. So Tiff, I imagine you're saying that now. Let's do one. So let's do one. You guys are here. For those of you that left, I'm sorry that you left. I'm going to do a drawing right now because Tiff, the person that's our mod and that does merch, wants me to do a drawing for a beanie right now. So we're going to do that. We are going to do a drawing for YouTube right now. I just got to find the little app thing to do it with. Last time I had it all set up, and this time I'm just winging it. Okay, so we're going to do a YouTube giveaway. Let me find the video, and we're going to do a giveaway right now. Tip's awesome. Let her know. Hit the like button, all that fun stuff. And let's do a giveaway for a beanie. And Tiff, if you can throw in there some also, if you're going to do a giveaway for a beanie, maybe throw a sticker or two in there, something. Give them a tease of what the merchandise looks like. That would be awesome. It'll give you guys a good idea of how awesome it is. All right, I'm gonna load the comments up right now and we're gonna do a giveaway. So there's 471 people here. I would really love for the people to be in chat. So Stephan Sterns, breaking the silence. Madeline Soto, are Chris and Deb helping to solve this case? We're talking about that. And oh no, I don't want to do this with you guys on here. Okay, hold on one second. Guilty of Crime with Jay. See, I didn't have it set up. All right, let's go. And go. And let's count it down. All right, guys. Here we go. A drawing for a beanie, and the quality is very good, guys. If you're here, you got to claim it. It's a beanie, and we can throw some swag in there. Maybe a sticker or something like that. Angelita, let's go. If you're not here, you're not going to win. I've never actually seen Angelita ever before in chat, so I'm not sure if she's here or she's not here, but I'm going to have to do it again if you're not here. I'm going to say it again. Angelita, let's go. If you're here, let me know. Let me show you the beanie. It doesn't seem like you are. It's a Guilty of Crime beanie. All right. So good quality, great quality. I love my beanies. And that's it right there. Guilty of Crime beanie. It's good for right now. It's cold. Is she here? All right. Where are you at, Angelita? And she's a member. So Angelita, let's go. If you can do me a favor and email guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. You can go ahead and get that. Let me put guilty of crime .merch @gmail.com and get your beanie and your merch. All right. So yeah, congratulations to you. Let's pull this down, put that up. guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. If you have any other questions, guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. You can also ask Tiff there. I see you, Angelita. Let's go. Just send an email to Tiff at guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com and get your beanie. Congratulations. To anybody else, you guys can go to guiltyofcrime.com. My phone's super dirty right now. It's all, guiltyofcrime.com and get whatever the heck you want. So congratulations, everybody that ordered or that won shirts last week. They already shipped. Kim Watts, yours shipped. The other Kim, yours shipped. So everything shipped out. We're all square. Everybody that we owed a gift to, I believe, is shipped out. All right, guys, we're almost at 2.5 hours. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being respectful. Please be respectful tomorrow. I will see you at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, 7 p.m. Eastern with a live show to discuss what's going on. Good night, RL, and everybody else. Happy freaking April Fools. Don't play any jokes on me because I don't like jokes. All right, peace, y'all. And yes, we're going to do that. Let's go.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?